So there's an incredible nonprofit called Team Rubicon that deploys veterans and first responders to the front lines of natural disasters and humanitarian crisis, and uses their amazing skill set to make an immediate impact everywhere they go. And the guy to talk about all of it, Team Rubicon's Jake Wood. So thank you so much for the time. I know Ariat is so honored to be partnering with Team Rubicon. I'm honored to be chatting with you. And I just have to say off the top, from the bottom of my heart, behalf of everyone at Ariat, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you for your service, for all that you've done, everything you continue to do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. The service is what we signed up for. We're also proud to be partnering up with Ariat and excited to see where it goes.
And Jake, you and I have something special to share with all the veterans and active military at the end of this. So you'll want to watch it all. I mean, they want to watch anyways, but as a special thank you from Ariat Team Rubicon, we're going to be making an announcement. So you all have to be watching that. But first, let's start with the beginning of Team Rubicon. 2010, earthquake hits Haiti, natural disaster. You decide you have to go down there. How did this start?
Yeah, well, it did. It started with the earthquake that hit Haiti in 2010, which, by the time the dust settled from that, literally, it was one of the worst humanitarian catastrophes of the last 100 years. And really, the story, though, starts before Haiti. I joined the Marine Corps in 2005. I served for 4 years in Iraq and Afghanistan as part of a scout sniper team. And it was that experience in the military that when I got out in late 2009 and 60 days later, that earthquake happened. It was that experience that I'd had in the Marine Corps that gave me the confidence and really that bias for action that led us to organize a team to get down to Haiti. And so, I was watching it unfold on my TV, couldn't really believe what I was seeing. But at the same time, as I was watching these images come through, it all felt so familiar, the chaos, the destruction, the hopelessness that I saw people experiencing. And I felt compelled to help. And so I called a couple of organizations, tried to offer my services. You can imagine that they said, "Hey, scram kid, let the professionals handle it." And so I called a couple of people that I served with, and we organized a team to get down there. And that really served as the genesis for what has become Team Rubicon, over a decade later.
It's so incredible. And just reading about the story of Team Rubicon, you hope there's never any type of crisis that you're personally involved in. But if so, I couldn't imagine someone better to be on the front lines and there to help you than veterans who have the experience and first responders that have the experience to be there and to make that impact right away. And now you have a team of over 130,000, right?
Yeah, so we've had about 130,000 Americans sign up over the last decade to offer their services in this capacity. And about 75% of them are military veterans. A lot of the remainder, their police, their fire, their other emergency services. And I think it is. You touched on one of the right points. These disasters, they strike these communities, whether overseas or here in the United States. And these are the worst moments of these people's lives. They're afraid, they're devastated, they are wondering what the future holds for them, for their family. And, where do they turn to for hope? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we've seen, particularly responding here in America, is the military is one of those last remaining institutions in which the public has confidence and trust and high regard. And so when we're able to come into these communities, people, they look at us and they say, yeah, I trust you to help lead me through this moment, just like I trusted you when we sent you overseas to protect our country.
Give us a sense of going to these places. You mentioned it. It's the worst day of these people's lives. And to not only go there, but then to rally together with your brothers and sisters and to be on the grounds of these places. What are those feelings that you go through?
Oh, I mean, I think it runs the gamut. A lot of the men and women who join, they're joining for a little bit of adventure, admittedly. They're getting out of the military. They are wondering if their life will ever have that same sense of mission and excitement that they had when they were, whether they were serving overseas, regardless of whatever capacity. Mm-hmm. And Team Rubicon gives them an element of that adventure, of that adrenaline. But a lot of people are joining, whether they know it or not, for other purposes. And those are things like purpose, things like community, and a sense of pride or a sense of identity. in who they are. And we see it time and again. These people join, they serve, they're once again serving a higher mission. They're serving something larger than themselves. They're doing it alongside like-minded people. And it just unlocks all of those same things that people get from military service. So we have seen it. It's inspiring to see the impact that we can have on the lives of the people who do the serving. But really the magic is the impact we have on the people, who are suffering through that disaster. That's what it all boils down to.
Is there, looking at some of your recent trips, either a certain community or individual that's really stood out to you or made a big impact on you? I'm sure everyone makes an impact in some way.
Yeah, that's a tough question. Yeah, and it's, and frankly, we respond to so many disasters these days. We've responded in over 300 communities this year alone with, natural disasters and of course with COVID. I was able to join our teams in Lake Charles, Louisiana, about a month ago. Actually, it was on September 11th that I was there, which was powerful for me as a veteran. Yeah, there were a couple of moments. I remember one in particular. I visited a team that was working on a home that had been really, really damaged in the storm from the first hurricane that hit, Hurricane Laura. Parts of the roof were missing. There were trees down on the roof, and the home was occupied by an elderly man and his younger caretaker. And his caretaker's name was Jung, and she was a character. She had rescued a puppy pit bull after the storm that had been lost or abandoned. She named it Hurricane, or as Kane, as she called him. And she was just, despite the circumstances, here she was, there's water coming in through the roof of this home she lives in. The mold is starting to set in. She had every reason to be upset, to be downtrodden. And she just had this spirit about her that was really quite amazing. But I will say, as I was getting ready to leave her home, she grabbed me and she said, I get the sense that America doesn't really give a damn about what's happening down here. And that was sad. And she was right. Unfortunately, Team Rubicon hadn't forgotten. We were there. We had hundreds of people on the ground. We were there helping our team in that very moment. But these storms that have been battering our Gulf Coast, unlike past years when Americans across the country, dug deep and gave support and did what they could to help, this year, it just hasn't happened. And there's reasons for that. It's been a tough year. And, with COVID, people don't have as much money to give because many people have lost their jobs. Many people are, experiencing unexpected expenses related to childcare and things like that. And so I understand. But the fact that America is not even talking about the story of the suffering of people like Jung, it just, it kind of breaks my heart. So, that was, I guess that's one story that has stuck in my mind. Of course, that's balanced with the story of the hundreds of volunteers who were down there who hadn't forgotten about Lake Charles, who dropped everything that they had to go to a community they'd never been to help people they'd never met. And that's, that's the most American thing ever.
Oh, absolutely. And the volunteers you're talking about, as I was just looking at so many stories, and you have a great blog on the Team Rubicon website, and these volunteers will come and share their stories. They come from all walks of life and all ages. I mean, it was veterans in their 70s and 80s that were also wanting to help and be a part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the most amazing trends we've seen with the organization is the increase in Vietnam veterans who are joining up. These are men and women who served generations ago, or decades ago, I should say, 50 years ago. Many of them are now reaching retirement age. And what's interesting is they're retiring and now it's idle minds, right? And what happens when your mind is idle, you start thinking about things. And what we've seen is that, many of them are now processing their wartime trauma for the first time. And they're trying to make sense of something because they don't have other things to take their mind off of it. And so they are in search of making meaning of that. And that's not for all of them. Others, they've spent an entire career building up a skill set, and now they want to be able to give back in some regard. Others are looking at a younger generation of veterans and saying, hey, I've been transitioning away, home from war for 50 years. I've got some lessons I can teach these youngins. And so
Right.
it's amazing it's amazing to see them come out. But, beyond, kind of that diversity or demographic, it is all walks of life. Like in Lake Charles, it's amazing. You'll see all of these volunteers sleeping on cots in a room. You'll have like a banker from New York next to a long haul trucker from Tulsa, Oklahoma, next to a nurse from, I don't know, Seattle, Washington, and people that would never otherwise come together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's like it's a Marine infantry platoon again.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Wow. It is so inspiring, and it's so incredible just what humanity can do when you do come together for a purpose and work together for a goal like that. And what better goal than to help each other and to restore and to inspire those who have lost so much. So I love what you're doing. I absolutely just think it's the world of you, of Team Rubicon. So thank you. Thank you for everything you do. And for all veterans out there, what an incredible organization to be a part of. But going beyond that, for someone like me, it does not have that skill set. But if you're just hearing this and everyone watching this and is listening says, how can I help? How can I be a part of this movement and what you're doing? What can we do?
Well, anybody can help. We can get anybody out there into the field. We'll give you whatever skills you need. If you think, I don't have the skills, we'll give you the skills. Right. We've got a training program. We'll make sure that you're able to do the work safely and effectively, and you don't have to be a veteran to get involved. So, please sign up. We've got more disasters than we can possibly deploy people to. Beyond that, like as I mentioned, this has been a tough year. It's been a tough year for philanthropy and for nonprofits like ours. We do run on donations. And so, I understand and I'm empathetic to people who have, seen their financial situation, really crumble in the midst of this pandemic. But if you do find yourself among the lucky Americans who have not been impacted, as you're looking at the end of the year and you're thinking about making a tax deductible donation, I certainly hope people would think about considering Team Rubicon. You could also go buy a Team Rubicon Ariat shirt, which is donating about 100% of the proceeds to our work. Now you can look good and do good at the same time. What more can you ask for?
I like the way you're thinking. That takes us right there. So yes, get the shirts. They're on Ariat's website right now, Team Rubicon shirts. I will be getting mine today. So next time you and I chat, I'm going to have all the gear on.
Likewise.
Be ready to go. We also want to say a huge thank you. So again, thank you to you, Jake. Thank you to all of our veterans, all of our active duty military. We have a special surprise announcement. Do you want to say it? Do you want me to say it?
I'm happy to tee it up.
Do it.
I hear this is a big deal for Ariat to give a discount. But if you're a veteran out there, Ariat's going to give you a 20% discount on Veterans Day. And I think the code is VetDay20.
That's it. VETDAY20. We'll put it on the screen and everywhere for you to see as well. But it's site-wide. It's for all veterans, all active duty military. It's a huge thank you. This is the only place that we're sharing that. So it's just for all of our Team Rubicon folks here and everyone watching, so they say, which is great. So happy shopping.
Yeah.
Shopping, maybe, but really sincerely from the bottom of our hearts, from Ariat, from Team Rubicon, thank you. Thank you so much to all of our veterans out there for all that you do, for all of your service. This world is a better place because of each and every one of you. So thank you so much. And Jake, thank you. Thank you for helping us with the announcement.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And for Team Rubicon, what you're doing is incredible every single day. I know you work so hard to make a difference in so many people's lives. And thank you almost never feels like enough. I've said it 100 times just in the last 10 minutes. But again, there's more that we can all do. And to say thank you, we could get these Team Rubicon shirts. We could donate to Team Rubicon. And me personally, I will be doing just that. So Jake, we so appreciate it. And I'm going to say it one more time. Thank you, sir. Thank you, friend.
You're welcome. It's our pleasure to serve.